Hey there, welcome over here to this gigantic freezer meal prep. I am going to be showing you new recipes and new creative ways on how to meal prep very efficiently. I absolutely love keeping my freezer full of freezer meals just because on a busy night, I know I have a meal to feed to my family. Also, you could give any of these freezer meals to family, friends, or neighbors who might be in need of a meal. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's head to my kitchen and start meal prepping. Before we head into this meal prep, I do want to show you this is everything that I grabbed from my grocery store, and everything all together is slightly under $100. So I grabbed everything from the cling wrap, aluminum foil, bags, the tins that the food's going to be cooking in. Of course, I might use a few things that I already have on hand in my own pantry or fridge, but this is kind of like everything that we are going to be using in the meal prep. And then here are all of the food items. I do like when I meal prep to kind of make a wide variety of things. I don't like to make like 15 turkey black bean chili, so I'm just gonna make 2 of them. Just, you know, kind of like a wide variety of things. The reason I'm making such a wide variety of things is because half of these meals are actually going to my brother and sister-in-law. They are pregnant as of recently, and then my sister-in-law has been super duper sick, so they've been needing meals. I'm really happy to make them a ton of meals today, and these are all the type of meals that they would enjoy, so let's go jump right into this. The first meal we are going to prep today is this really simple salsa verde pork tacos. So this one is a slow cooker recipe. I suppose you could also make it in your Instant Pot if you wanted to, but I just wrote on my gallon size freezer Ziploc bag what it was and then how long to slow cook it for. And then I placed it in my baggie clips. I found my baggie clips from Amazon. It's just the green thing holding my bag up. I have it linked in my Amazon store if you want one. Next, I just added in my pork tenderloin. It's just a 2-pound pork tenderloin. And then 1 onion I sliced into smaller pieces. Next, I'm adding in 16 ounces of salsa verde. If you wanted to, you could use other types of salsas if you're not a fan of salsa verde. And then to season it up, I kept it pretty simple. Just salt, pepper, crushed red pepper flakes, and then a dash of cumin, excuse me. And that is all you do. You are just going to seal this bag up. If you are planning on making this within a couple of days of when you meal prep it, go ahead and stick it in your fridge. Otherwise, just stick it in your freezer. And then here are the cooking instructions. This chicken, broccoli, bacon, and potato casserole is the perfect casserole to meal prep. So I'm actually making 4 of them, and I'm making them in 8x8 baking dishes. The first ingredient you will add to the bottom of your 8x8 baking dish is about 1 pound of red and golden potatoes, so a total of 4 pounds. I just evenly distributed them in each of the baking dishes. And then next I have 4 pounds of chicken breast that I cubed. I added 1 pound of each of the chicken breast in each of the baking tins. Now I have 2 heads of broccoli I cut into smaller pieces. I'm adding the broccoli on top of the chicken. Next, each of the baking tins will get 1/4 cup of cooked crumbled bacon, followed by I just cut up an onion into like thinner strips like this. I'm adding a little bit of that onion on top of the bacon. And then of course you do want to add seasonings. You could add any type of seasoning you like, but I just chose to keep it simple: salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. The last couple things you will do is add 1/2 cup of heavy cream in each of the baking dishes. And then of course you want cheese on top, so I added 1/2 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese on the very top. And just like magic, you have 4 dinners ready to go, ready to enjoy. So to help these not get freezer burnt, I covered the top with cling wrap very tightly, and then covered the top of the cling wrap with aluminum foil tightly. And then on the aluminum foil, I wrote how to heat this up in the oven and cook it. Now we are making another slow cooker recipe. This is a turkey black bean chili. You are going to want to start with 1 pound of turkey, add it to your pan on the stove and cook it up. If you don't want to use ground turkey, you could use ground chicken or ground beef as a substitute. After my ground turkey was cooked, I let it completely cool down before I placed it in my freezer bags. But I'm actually making 2 of these turkey black bean chilies. So I have 2 freezer bags right here. I wrote the date that that I made this on, and then of course what it is and how long to slow cook it for. We're going to start filling up our bag, so I'm placing a half a pound of turkey in each bag. Next, we will be adding our black beans. There will be 2 cans of drained and rinsed black beans in each bag. Next, we'll be adding is 1 can of tomato sauce in each bag, 1 can of petite diced tomatoes in each bag, 6 ounces of frozen corn in each bag, a tablespoon of minced garlic in each bag, and then lastly, 2.5 tablespoons of your favorite type of taco seasoning. You can make your own homemade taco seasoning, but I typically just like to buy the taco seasoning from the store. Now that is all of the ingredients I added in. I'm just sealing up my bags, and of course in the very beginning I wrote the cooking instructions and the date on the bag. You could also add what to pair this with, like you could pair it with cornbread or tortillas, but I didn't add that just because it is chili and I feel like people already know what to pair it with. If you don't make homemade freezer pizzas, you really got to. It saves you so much money and they are delicious. So I'm making 4 pizzas to this large bowl. I added 3 cups of warm water along with 2 tablespoons of this yeast. Next, you'll be adding about 3 tablespoons of honey. Just whisk this all together and let it sit for about 5 minutes to activate the yeast. Once I saw bubbles forming, I knew my yeast was activated, so then I added 1/3 cup of olive oil with a dash of garlic powder and a dash of Italian seasoning. You don't have to add the garlic powder or Italian seasoning if you don't want to. I just like the flavor it gives. So I gave this a good whisk together, and then I brought it over to my electric stand mixer. I put the dough hook on, and then I added about 2 cups of flour at a time until the dough started to get kind of like elasticy. I added a total of 9 cups of flour, I'd say, but of course yours might vary. Once my dough got into an elasticy consistency, I cut it in half and then placed it into 2 separate bowls. I'm going to be placing cling wrap over the bowls. I am spraying the bottom of my cling wrap with non-stick spray. This is going to make sure the dough doesn't stick to the cling wrap, but after I do this and put the cling wrap on top of both bowls, I place them in a warm place for about an hour so the dough can double in size. After my dough balls have doubled in size, I'm going to bring each of them over to a floured surface one at a time, and I'm going to knead them for about 5 times until that dough kind of comes together, and then I'm going to separate each of the dough balls in half. So at this point, I'm going to have about 4 dough balls total after I am through kneading each of the dough balls and then separating them. Now it's time to roll your pizza dough out into a circle. This recipe makes 4 large pizzas, so I made this into a large pizza circle, and then you are going to place each of the pizza doughs onto a pizza pan. I did sprinkle my pizza pan with cornmeal. This is going to help the dough not stick, and then this pizza dough will go in a preheated oven to 425 degrees for about 8 minutes without any toppings on it. After all 4 of my pizza crusts baked in the oven, I placed them on a circle cardboard cutout. You definitely don't have to do that, but I do like doing that. And then I put marinara sauce on top of the dough. You could use Alfredo sauce if you want to make them Alfredo sauce pizzas, but I just wanted to make them traditional pizzas. So after I added the marinara sauce and then spread it out, I added mozzarella cheese on top. And then I made 2 ham pizzas, so I just got smoked ham and then 2 pepperoni pizzas, but just make the pizzas however you want to. You can make veggie pizzas, buffalo pizzas, barbecue chicken pizzas, really, you name it, you got it, you can make it. After I sprinkled more cheese on the very top, sprinkling more cheese on the very top is a good idea because it will actually help the pepperonis and the ham stick better. I tightly wrapped the pizzas with cling wrap. I did 2 strips of cling wrap on each side so the pizza doesn't get freezer burnt, and then I tightly wrapped it with aluminum foil. I labeled the pizzas so they bake on 425 for about 15 minutes or until they are golden. You don't bake them with the cardboard cutout. You bake them on a pizza sheet, just to let you know. Now for another slow cooker one, we're making sweet and sour barbecue meatballs. This is just a dump and go one. So I labeled the bag, of course, dated it, and then did the instructions on how to cook it. I always do that right on the bags before I put food in it, just because it is so much easier. So that's a little tip. But I have 2 pounds of meatballs right here. I accidentally bought the Italian style meatballs, but just buy the regular meatballs. The Italian style ones will still come out good, but just use the regular ones. Anyways, after I added half of my meatballs in each bag, so a pound of meatballs in each bag, I added a half a can of pineapple chunks in each bag, and then I chopped up 1 orange bell pepper, 1 yellow, 1 red, and then an onion into smaller pieces. I'm adding half of that in each bag now. It really can't get any easier than this. I'm adding 10 ounces of barbecue sauce in each bag. That's the very last thing I'm doing. I'm just using the Great Value original barbecue sauce. I really like the Great Value one. I just think it tastes great. I also like the Sweet Baby Ray's, but I do like the price of the Great Value barbecue sauce better, so that's just my opinion. Anyways, I'm going to zip these up, throw them in either my refrigerator or freezer, and there you go. You have the easiest meal to get on your table in no time at all now that you prepped everything. One thing that I always find great to meal prep is enchiladas. So I'm doing chicken red chili enchiladas. You will want shredded chicken. So I'm boiling my chicken up in the Instant Pot. So I added 3 super large chicken breasts to my Instant Pot with 1 cup of water. I'm going to cook this on high pressure for about 20 minutes. I'm doing 20 minutes just because I have so much chicken in there. But anyways, if you don't want to boil and shred your own chicken, you could use a rotisserie chicken and that would be really easy. But now that my chicken is cooked and shredded, I placed it in this large bowl. And then to the chicken, I'm adding a little 4-ounce can of green chilies that are diced, or you could use jalapenos, but this is just going to give it a lot of flavor. A half a cup of sour cream, a half a cup of red enchilada sauce. I just used the old El Paso can, and then a half a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Mix this all together. To assemble my enchiladas, I'm pouring a little bit of that red enchilada sauce on the bottom of each of my 9x13 aluminum pans. This is going to help the enchiladas so they don't stick. And then I'm using flour tortillas for this, or you could use corn tortillas, whatever your preference is. I'm just scooping a couple scoops with my cookie scoop inside of each of the tortillas. Now that I made my 2 pans of enchiladas and my tortillas are completely stuffed, I'm pouring more enchilada sauce over the top. I know some people like it super duper saucy, and then some people don't like their enchiladas as saucy, so kind of add your sauce depending on how much you like it on your enchiladas. And then on the very top, you'll add about 1.5 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Of course, to help this not get freezer burnt, I'm adding a tight layer of cling wrap on top, and then a tight layer of aluminum foil on top of the aluminum foil. I just wrote what it is and then the cooking instructions. These stuffed peppers are great because they are perfect for single serving sizes or for a family. To get this one started, I'm cooking up 1 pound of ground beef in my pan. After it is through cooking, I just drained any of the excess grease and then I removed the ground beef and set it to the side to cool. Now I have 8 green bell peppers. I'm just cutting the tops off and then removing as much of the seeds and the white part as I can inside of the bell peppers. You do want to make sure that your bell peppers can stand up on their own. If they can't, just cut a small part off of the very bottom of the bell peppers, and then that should get them to stand up on their own. Now that I'm through with my bell peppers, I'm going to set them to the side. I'm going to start on the filling now. So into this medium-sized bowl, I added our cooked ground beef along with 1 diced up white onion, 8 ounces of tomato sauce, a tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 cup of minute brown rice. You do want to make sure it is the minute rice and the brown rice because it will cook the best in the end. And then to flavor this up, I'm adding a dash of garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, and salt and pepper. I gave this a good stir and then I remembered, oh man, I totally forgot to add in my 7 ounces of petite diced tomato, so now that's what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to stir this to combine. Now that I'm finished making our ground beef mixture, you are going to want to scoop it in each of the bell peppers. So try to make it as even as possible in each of the bell peppers, but trust me, it won't be perfect. But I do want to let you know, I love meal prepping bell peppers like this, just because you could grab 1 bell pepper out, make it for yourself for a single serving type of meal, or you can make a bunch for a family. Like I said in the beginning, it is great. But now that I am finished scooping our bell peppers, I'm going to be sprinkling shredded sharp cheddar cheese on the very top. I'm going to place my sheet pan just like this in my freezer to freeze while the bell peppers are standing up. After they are completely frozen, about 5 hours I'd say it takes in the freezer, I'm going to place them in large gallon-sized Ziploc bags. I did label the bags just like this, and then they're ready to be thrown back into the freezer to enjoy whenever you want. Potato soup is one of those things that I could eat all year round, and it is the perfect meal to meal prep. So this is another slow cooker recipe. I have my bag that I labeled. I'm adding 3 shredded carrots into my freezer bag. Next thing you'll add is 1/4 cup of butter. I slice the butter into smaller pieces. Next, 1 diced up white onion. You don't have to add the onion if you don't care for onions. A 32-ounce bag of these potatoes. These are just the southern style potatoes. They look like this. And then after you add these hash brown potatoes in, you will add 8 ounces of diced ham. If you don't care for ham, you don't have to add the ham in. You could add cooked crumbled bacon after this meal has slow cooked all day. But anyways, I just added my ham in. And then after the ham, I am just adding a little bit of seasonings to flavor this up. A dash of salt, pepper, and then celery salt. The last thing I added in is a tablespoon of minced garlic. There are a few other ingredients you need to write on this bag, so add 4 cups of chicken broth when you add this in the slow cooker, and after this has slow cooked all day, add a cup of heavy whipping cream and a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese in, then you could enjoy it. I hope you found new ways to meal prep, and I have plenty more videos like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed down below the video so you don't miss any more in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.